Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware. 19809 is our zip code, and we are located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. We invite you to come and worship with us every Sunday at 10 a.m. if you're in our area. There is parking on Hillcrest. We are the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road in Wilmington, Delaware. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. If you're not in our area, you can tune in every Sunday at 10:45 a.m. on YouTube at New Life Christian Center -- Pastor Pope. Join us for the Sunday sermon every Sunday at 10 a.m. I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, we are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. If you go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio, the drop box will appear, and every broadcast will be available to you when you click on the New Life link. But we invite you to come and worship with us at 10 a.m. every Sunday morning. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. And I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we are delighted to be with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time right here in 3D, broadcasting live for the Daily Divine Direction broadcast in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio. You can discuss careers, you can discuss finances, you can discuss entrepreneurship, you can discuss marriage, divorce, you can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart and whatever's on your mind. God is concerned with that which concerns you. So we are here every Monday through Friday in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m., which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water, this is Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you who have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here for you because God is concerned about everything that concerns you. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you never understood your parents getting divorced, and there have been moments of resentment for the changes in your lives. And for a long time, you blamed them for the challenges that you experienced as an adult. And now you are understanding as an adult. So let me say this. You said in your communication, you understand now as an adult that marriage requires work. It's not a job, but it requires work. And you understand that people sometimes grow apart because now you're an adult. And as an adult, you understand, and this is good for all of our listeners and viewers, you have to recognize, first of all, it's real easy to say, first of all, you have to let go of what transpired between your parents. But also in addition to that, you have to remember that as a child, you really don't have the tools. You know, I know it's, young people think we know everything. When we're young, we think we know everything. Young people today think they know everything. It hasn't changed. But the reality is, as a teenager, as an adolescent, you don't have the tools to navigate what goes on in the lives of adults. You don't have the tools for that. So you experience some challenges because you tried to navigate your parents' relationships, and that's why you blame them. Let me rephrase that. That's why you have resentment towards them, because it made your childhood more challenging. Okay. But at some point, we have to move beyond that. And as an adult, we move beyond that. But then for a long time, you blamed them for your challenges. People often, and it's very interesting because not long ago, we had this discussion. People sometimes look at what their challenges may be and the decisions they make, and because they don't want to be accountable for those decisions, they then are looking for some place to lay the blame. So when you become an adult, let me make sure that everyone gets this. When you become an adult, there is nothing that you do from the time you graduate from college or from the time you are over the age of 21. Every decision you make is your decision. That's the first step. By the time we're 25, we're making decisions that are going to impact our lives long term. But we're still responsible for those decisions. We can't look for places to lay the blame when we're the ones making the decisions. Now, as an adult, you're understanding that your challenges really weren't brought on by your parents getting divorced. Your challenges have been created by making decisions, uninformed, unintelligent decisions. I'm using that as an analogy. You weren't prepared to make those decisions, but you made them anyway because you thought, I'm an adult, it's necessary for me to make those decisions. But when we don't want to hold ourselves accountable for our decisions, we then look for someone else to be responsible for them. But the truth is, we are the only ones responsible for the actions that we take. Now, I'm not suggesting, and I want to make sure everyone's clear on this, if you have had childhood trauma, and some people will say divorce is a trauma, but it wasn't your divorce. So that wasn't your trauma. You may have had, your lifestyle may have changed due to the divorce. You might have endured some additional challenges due to divorce. But once you become an adult, you're building your own life. And once you become an adult, that life that you're building has to be based on what am I going to do to enhance the quality of my life? And any decisions that you make that don't enhance the quality of your life, those decisions can't be blamed on anyone else. They're only our decisions. So as an adult, you now have to understand that. You have to be fully aware. You said for a long time, you blamed your parents for your challenges. Well, now you have to say, as an adult, then as we get older, from 25 to 30, and from 30 to 35, and from 35 to 40, really, at that point, we have to say, I'm not only responsible for myself, but I'm also responsible for perhaps children. So every phase of life is a new level. And, they use the term level up. Every phase of life is a new level. And one thing we cannot do is apply our present and our future to our past. We can say the past will have an impact on our present and our future. It will. It will, it will perhaps limit some things. It will have, look, I'll use an academic example. You go to high school and you don't go to college, it's going to limit some of the things you're going to be able to do. You go to college and you graduate from college and you don't take care of yourself, your health, it's going to limit some things that you're able to do. If you aren't fiscally responsible, it's going to limit some things that you're able to do. There may be some limits to what you can do based on the past. But that doesn't preclude you from developing other methods to maximize your success or enhance your quality of life along the way. So we have to be accountable and responsible for whatever decisions we've made that have brought us to this point, and then we have to make good decisions moving forward. We have to decide we're going to, every day, make decisions that are going to enhance the quality of our lives or are going to continue to move us forward. So, I use the academic example. One of the things that we're constantly teaching, not only students, but people, is that, for example, as a student, you have to get as much education as possible, because the more you learn, the more you earn. And every level, you're going to increase your lifetime learning capacity. There's a significant difference in education of lifetime earning capacity. So we have to examine that. But there's also going to be a difference in our quality of life if we don't work on our health, if we don't work on improving our skills, becoming more proficient. There's all these things are going to have an impact on the quality of our lives. But one thing we cannot do is drag our past into our present and our future. We have to realize that whatever decisions we've made in the past are decisions that may result in where you are in the present. But that doesn't dictate your future. Because we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. We constantly have to make ourselves relevant. I was reading an article about someone who has had some success and talked about how they has had some really good success. And they talked about how they recognize now the importance of what God is doing in their life, and they realize that they have to constantly make themselves relevant in society. And I think we don't realize how important it is to make ourselves relevant in society, and what that means: being able to communicate effectively and efficiently with the masses, being able to, function in all environments, not just a little bubble. All of these things are important to get us to the place that God has purposed for our lives, and to realize that, all of those challenges that you faced throughout the years, those decisions that you made getting to that place and getting through those challenges have resulted in where you are today. But you all have heard me say, what you do last year, you're going to see the results of that maybe partly this year, but certainly moving forward, over the next 5 years, over the next 7 years, over the next 10 years. What you did 5 years ago is what got you to where you are right now. That's how it works. It's the time process of task that result to where we are today. What you did 5 years ago has brought you to this point. What you did 10 years ago brought you to where you were 5 years ago. And maybe even you see some residual of it today. But what you do today, what you do tomorrow, what you do next week are all going to be prevalent in your future. You're living it today, but it's going to have an impact on the future. So you have to make the decision that no matter what, we're going to focus on making good decisions. And how do we make good decisions? You know, staying in the Word of God, lining up our way with God's way and lining up our will with God's will. And the way that you do that is surrender. And then line it up with His Word, because His Word is going to give us inspiration, revelation that will allow us to really thrive and flourish and thrive. We want to make certain that we maximize this life that we're living. We want to maximize our success. We want to experience the fullness of God. We want to maximize the fullness of God for succeeding generations. Let's focus on making good decisions and not blaming someone else for the poor decisions that we make. Poor decisions lead to poverty. Good decisions lead to the promise of God. But we have to line up our decisions with the way of God and the will of God and be blessed in the process. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, you can stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you are not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been having difficulty getting refocused after being responsible for some additional responsibilities in your life, and you want to know how can you get refocused. And so I'm going to say this to you. Don't spend time analyzing how you lost your focus. Don't focus on that. Those are responsibilities that you had to address. You had to really be responsible for those activities. So the way to get refocused is to get back to your normal activities and then just allow everything in your life to recalibrate itself. You know, we're all going to have, from time to time, we're all going to have some different responsibilities. But it's about being consistent, because consistency is one of the keys to success. You want to make certain that you are just get right back into your normal activities. You'll get back in your rhythm. You know, you will find that your normal activities will lead back to you getting back in your rhythm. It will take a few days from time to time whenever you get out of your rhythm. It will take a brief period of time for you to recalibrate. But that's okay. It's fine, because long term, as long as you are focused on your normal activities, the things that you are responsible for on a daily basis, that consistency will lead to success. It will allow you to be successful in everything you do. The problem is sometimes when we have something added, some additional responsibility added to our schedule, we get out of rhythm. It happens to us all. We just have to get back. We have to allow our body, mind, and spirit to be recalibrated. And what I mean by that is just simply allowing, just be. Go back to your normal activities. Go back to your normal routine. Just be. Just be present in the moment. I'm just not at 100%. I'm just recalibrating, resetting, because I've gotten out of my normal routine. But not having a normal routine is a recipe for disaster. Not having a normal routine every single day will not allow you to perform at peak performance. You know, it's important for us as human beings to have a normal routine, some sense of normalcy. Why do you think that so many people, and this is a rhetorical question, I don't need everybody to text me all at once, or email me all at once. Listen, I love receiving your emails, I love receiving your texts, that's all good, but this is a rhetorical question. Why do you think so many people went through COVID depression, COVID fatigue? That was all relative to us getting out of our normal routine. Now, most people don't think about that, but that's reality. Our bodies have a body rhythm. Our brains have a mental rhythm. And when we get out of our normal routine, it disrupts things. Now, obviously, COVID lasts for 2 years. We don't get out of our normal routine for 2 years. Even if you're someone and this is not you, but even if you were someone who what we identify as being all over the place, you still have a routine. And when we get out of that normal routine, it disrupts our psyche. So we have to have a routine, even though it might get us out of rhythm, because you can always get back into rhythm. Trying to get your psyche back to a place of normalcy is much more difficult than getting your body rhythm back into rhythm, recalibrated. So just look at it from this perspective. Those additional responsibilities that you referenced in your communication, you've now completed. So don't fight with the fact of, I can't get myself back in rhythm. I can't, you may not sleep the normal sleep pattern that you have because you're out of rhythm for a couple of days. You might not be able to focus on the things that you traditionally have been able to focus on for a few days, but eventually it's all going to recalibrate. The reason that it takes you longer to recalibrate is because you're resisting it. You're resisting the fact that your body needs to recalibrate itself because your expectation is, I should be able to do what comes my way. I should be able to take care of additional responsibilities and get right back into what I normally do. Well, I always ask people the question, how's that working for you? Because right now, we don't want to stress ourselves. Remember what I always say to our listeners and viewers. First of all, you really want to be too blessed to be stressed. We're all going to have a level of stress in our lives, no matter what it is. If you've got children, you've got a level of stress. If you've got responsibilities, you've got a level of stress. If you've got a big job, you've got a level of stress. If you've got a big career, but the stress is not a stress that's going to disrupt your psyche. It's actually a good stress, because you're too blessed to be stressed beyond that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that getting out of your normal routine and having some additional responsibilities keeps our brain sharp. Because it requires us to do, even if it's something you're doing for an entertainment purpose that takes you out of your normal rhythm, it has given you something else that will allow you to think differently, to respond differently, and then go back to your normal routine. And then we have to learn that if we're dealing with negative stress, we've got to learn to reduce or eliminate, and hopefully reduce to eliminate. That's really how we're going to allow ourselves to refocus and remain focused until the next additional responsibility comes, because we're all going to have them. We're going to have them on a regular basis throughout life. When I say regular basis, I don't mean every day. I don't mean every week. I don't mean every month. I don't even mean every year. There are going to be some additional responsibilities that are going to occur. And we have to address them, resolve them, and move on. And you will be able to do that, but just don't resist it. Don't stress yourself out about the fact that you're experiencing that, because those responsibilities have now concluded and you are back to refocusing on your normal activity. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you get mixed reviews about the way you dress from your daughters. However, your husband likes the way you dress, and you often get compliments from other men, but your daughters are concerned about the way you dress because they say you dress more like them than more like their mother. So let me first of all say this. If your husband likes the way you dress, what difference does it make what anybody else thinks? That's first and foremost. And then the fact that you get compliments from other men implies that people feel that you dress well. Whatever that looks like, people feel you dress well. Your daughters are not used to you, well, they are used to you. They have a problem with the fact that you dress trendy like they dress. And the reason they have a problem with that is because you're their mother. They don't see you as a physically sexual being. They don't see you that way. They see you as their mother who is nurturing them and governing their lives. They're young adults. So they don't see you the way your husband sees you. They don't see you the way other men see you. They don't see you that way. So consequently, they would rather have you put in a bag and live in a bubble, for lack of a better term. If your husband is comfortable with the way you dress, he likes the way you dress, don't worry about what your children are thinking. Just present yourself well in public. I'll say this, continue to present yourself well in public. Your daughters will come to terms with the fact that, just because you like to dress fashionably, they'll learn to live with that. Because they have to. For today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, 3D, has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. Remember, if you're in our area, come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Service begins at 10 a.m. We are located on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. There's parking.